Yes, guys, welcome to another training. So, my explicit intention today is to give you guys some serious inspiration and give you some serious motivation towards the next 90 days of this year, or 4 months, dependent on when we want to look at it. The last period of this year. So, we're going to get deep on what it is we can do, what actions we need to take, what habits we need to create, what habits we need to let go of, and what needs to happen in order for us to start really moving forward towards living the life we want and we deserve, in body, business, mind, and being in the latter part of this year. So there's a big part left of this year, guys. There's over 4 months left. And that's what I want you to get clear on first. Whatever's happened this year has been and gone. Doesn't matter. Let it go. It's irrelevant. We are just about to move into a new month. So we have September, October, November, December. 4 months. Okay? A third of the entire year. Yet this is the point when so many people start to switch off and go back onto autopilot. So, great. Go back onto autopilot. So, the holidays are coming to an end. People are starting to switch off. The woolly jumpers are coming out. It's starting to get colder. The mornings are getting darker. The evenings are getting darker. It's happening already. The weather's going to come in a little bit. And it's such a key area of the year where people now start to just wind down to Christmas. Think about how crazy that is. Winding down towards Christmas. That's literally writing off a full third of the year. And when you think of it like that, think how easy it is now to see why people spend their entire life on autopilot going absolutely fucking nowhere. Because they have this level of motivation and inspiration that basically only lasts long enough, normally, to undo the damage of the last period of the year in January and February. And then they wander off. And then they're like, crikey, Ibiza in like 12 weeks. And they get back on it and they might get some results. And then the holidays finish. And then they repeat the same cycle they've been stuck in their entire life. So don't let that be you. Let's get really clear on what it is that we want to achieve in the next 90 days. So, what holds us back from living the life we want? What holds us back from achieving what it is we want to achieve? So, almost certainly, without fail, it's two things: fear and procrastination. Either not doing something because we're afraid of it. Guys, can you hear that? Can you hear that really loud drilling, or is it just me? Is it disturbing you guys? Stephen, let me know, yes or no. You can't hear it? Right, cool. So, an interesting way to look at this is looking into how we've discussed the emotions of happy and sad. The emotions of love and hate, the emotions of fear and courage. So like I said, it's normally fear that's holding us back from living the life that we want. And because of fear, we then procrastinate. The two are intrinsically linked. That's why you don't start the business. Okay? That's why you don't leave the relationship. That's why you don't start going to the gym. Because we have this fear of what might happen if we don't succeed. We don't do the work. We don't take the action. And how that might make us feel. Which triggers our innermost fear that we're not enough, as we know. So first of all, we're shackled by fear of what if I really take action towards the thing that I want to do and it doesn't pan out the way I want it to pan out. So I'll just do nothing and procrastinate and stick to the life that I have because this life feels safe. So drop me a yes or put your hand up virtually or any of the things. If you've been led into this thought process that people that really succeed are fearless. You hear it all the time. Kids are fearless. Oh my God, he's fearless. She's fearless. It was even, I think it was a stage name, wasn't it? Todd Herman, who's there. That's a great book, by the way, to recommend. The Alter Ego by Todd Herman. He was someone let me know. I don't know if anyone will know this in the comment. He was he's a sports psychologist and a psychologist. He was also the person who worked with Beyonce when she was struggling. It wasn't fearless, but I think it was fierce something. She basically had an alter ego name that she used when she stepped on stage because she was struggling with confidence. Someone Google it. What's Beyonce's alter ego? But one of the words that was used is fearless, and we try to create this feeling of being fearless, right? Sasha Fierce, that's it. So fierce, fearless, that's why it's coming from. So that was her alter ego. When she went on stage, she wasn't Beyonce Knowles, she was Sasha Fierce. So she stepped into an alter ego. But again, some of what these psychologists teach is about becoming fearless. And that's what I want to get away from. Because fear cannot exist without courage. So rather than thinking about having a lack of fear, rather than thinking about becoming fearless, guys, this is all over the shop. Neighbours have moved in. There's someone literally drilling shelves right there if I keep looking like I'm getting distracted. So I do apologise. So fear cannot exist without courage. So fear is actually a lack of courage. You can't be fearless. Does that make sense? No one's fearless. Like, stop trying to convince yourself that's what you need to be. If you're not experiencing fear, if you're not experiencing stress and overwhelm and anxiety and all these emotions, if you're not afraid of taking action towards the life that you want, then you're not human. So rather than trying to be fearless, I want you to focus on what it is that I need to do to build courage. And get that straight in your head. So what you will learn, and why this will become easier, is I've spoken about this many times across the year. And I want you to get clear on it in the last quarter of this year. And that is that fear is not real. Almost 90%, it's a catastrophe this morning. Should we try turning WhatsApp off as well? So 90% of your fears are not real. Write that down. Your fears are not real. There's only two things you're afraid of as a child. That's loud noises and being dropped on your head. Everything else is developed. Everything else is conditioned. And the only thing that is fear is if this thing that is in your life is going to cause death or serious injury. That's it. You can't be afraid of being alone. That's not a fear. You can't be afraid of failure. That's not a fear. They are completely different. It's an avoidance of discomfort. And you need to get clear on these things. You don't not go for the job interview because you're afraid of not getting the job. Okay? You don't want to experience the discomfort of rejection. It's why people don't ask the boy or girl out. It's why they don't start the business. They're not afraid of failure. They're afraid of the emotional discomfort they're going to experience if the thing happens. It's just bad mind management. And that's what we need to work on. So the next time you are experiencing what you perceive to be fear, I want you to just think, can I die? can I get seriously injured? If not, it's not fear. It's an avoidance of discomfort. And as long as you continue to avoid that discomfort because you're afraid of how it may potentially make you feel, even though it's not real, that is the thing that's holding you back. I'm not going to ask that girl out, because what if she says no, and then all her friends will laugh at me and she'll think I'm a muppet, and all of this will trigger my innermost fears that I'm not good enough, nobody's ever going to love me, and that I'll never be happy. That's just discomfort. I'm not going to go for the job interview because what if I don't get it and someone else is better than me, and then I'm going to feel like a failure, and then I'm never going to go, so I'll just not try. What if I join the gym? What if I join Unbreakable? What if I join the coaching plan? And then I sign up and I invest my money and I don't do the work and I carry on eating cake and making it other people's fault and blaming, complaining and justifying and lying about my food like I've done my whole life, and then I feel like I'm a failure, and all of that makes me feel really uncomfortable and really awkward. So do you know what? I'll just not try. But the reality is, guys, both options are uncomfortable. You either go through the discomfort of going to the gym and eating healthy and stopping eating, or you get the discomfort of being a fat fuck who can't walk up the stairs without getting out of breath. Yes, that was meant to shock you. It's that simple. Both options are uncomfortable. You can be lazy, eat cake, not go to the gym, drink, make every single thing in your entire life someone else's fault, and suffer that discomfort your entire life. Or you can take ownership, you can take responsibility, you can create new habits. You can start going to the gym, you can start making better decisions, you can start protecting who you give your time and your energy to, you can start getting rid of people that aren't serving you, relationships and habits and everything else in between, and start creating the new ones. Yes, change is uncomfortable. Yes, changing your identity is uncomfortable. Like what I go through in the next 3 to 4 trainings after this one, possibly the next one, dependent on how planning it goes, when we actually delve very deeply into relationships, will absolutely blow your mind. Because one of the biggest identities that people have, since we're talking about identities, is that they can't be alone. And the same people are lonely in their relationship. They're lonely in their careers because their identity has become someone who needs to be with someone in order to be happy. This is why you see, and it's men and women, guys, right? This is why you see the man or the woman, sometimes it's days, weeks, months. Who's got a friend like that who's been that person? They end a relationship on Sunday, they're fucking in love again by Friday with someone else and taking the kids on holiday with them. It's real when you see it, because that's become so ingrained in their identity that they need someone to be happy that it's almost impossible to get used to it, to let go of it. So it's the same thing. If we've developed the identity of avoiding discomfort because it makes us feel safe, then it's not easy to change, guys. So I know I inject a bit of fun and humor and aggression into these trainings, but I get it as well. It's not easy, but you have to make that decision. You can avoid the discomfort of ending the relationship because, oh, what are we going to do financially, and what about the house, and what about the kids, and I really like his parents and her parents really like me, and all that crap that you tell yourself. And you can avoid the discomfort of losing the job because you've got a phone and you've got a car and you've got a pension and you've been there this long, and what might happen to the company if you leave. And you can avoid the discomfort of going to the gym because people might laugh at you and look at you. Truth bomb, no one gives a fuck about you. You can keep avoiding all those things, and that will keep you stuck, uncomfortable. Said this to a business client the other day. She went, I don't really like doing sales calls. Why? Oh God, they make me feel so uncomfortable. I feel so uncomfortable asking for money. Okay? Simple response. You either learn to get comfortable with asking for money, you learn to get comfortable with sales calls, or you can go through the discomfort of being skint your entire life and not living the life you deserve. Which one do you want to choose? Every single one of these examples, right? Both outcomes are uncomfortable. Neither have anything to do with fear. That's bad mind management. So you have to make that decision. Which discomfort do I want? Do I want the discomfort of going to the gym, getting up early, journaling, working on my mind, becoming the full circle myself, so I'm not a C walking around looking for another D, because when I find the one, they'll complete me. You can never be lonely when you love yourself, because you've always got yourself. Most people don't love themselves. They're looking for somebody else to love them in order for them to feel complete. That's why two lonely people meet each other, thinking they're going to complete each other, then realize the entire relationship was based on nothing other than loneliness. Does this make sense? So we go through all of these uncomfortable things in order to live the life that we want. And they're all interlinked. You don't think the gym, relationship, business and careers and all of these are all interlinked? Why do you think I coach on fitness, nutrition, mindset, careers, business, relationships and mental health? Because they are all interlinked. If you're avoiding the discomfort of working on your mindset, if you're avoiding the discomfort of getting up early, journaling, going to the gym, doing the deep work on yourself, you're not ever going to attract the person that's done the deep work either. You're going to attract the mirror of yourself. And this is why people don't understand why relationships don't work. I'm going to get back to this training before I start going down those ones. I've been working on it for weeks, so they're in the forefront of my mind. But, you know, both, that's what you have to ask yourself. In all of these situations, both outcomes, both options, both actions, in any of these situations are uncomfortable. But you have to choose which one you want to go through. And you need to be realistic that you're not afraid. You're just being a pussy and avoiding discomfort. So choose your discomfort. Do you want the discomfort of doing a mindset video every day, or do you want the discomfort of being depressed? Do you want the discomfort of healthy eating and going to the gym, or do you want the discomfort of being overweight and dying way before your time and not seeing your kids grow up? Do you want the discomfort of scraping around to pay your bills, or do you want the discomfort of starting to advertise your business? So, this all starts with us making a decision to change. And I always go back to this and remembering A, B, C. Action brings change. Action builds courage. Action builds confidence. And action is the only answer. Whatever discomfort you are avoiding, action is the only answer. No one's coming to rescue you. It's not just going to get better. Your career isn't just going to stop being toxic. Your relationship isn't suddenly just going to start becoming loving and fulfilling. You're not suddenly just going to stop feeling lonely in the relationship. And trust me, contrary to what Rhonda Byrne says in The Secret, you're not going to think yourself to your perfect weight. You guys know when it triggers me, when people say this. I'm going to see how it goes this week. No, you're in control. I'm going to hope for a better week. No, hope's not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. I'm going to see what happens. You're in control of what happens. Do you mean you're going to see what happens? You're going to see whether you quit or not when it gets tough. You're going to see whether you can be asked going to the gym. You're going to see whether you can be bothered to track your food today. You're going to see whether you can ask for help, go for a run, whatever. You are in charge. but we have to take action. And when we take action, action brings change after we've made a decision to change. We make the decision to change, and then action brings change. And then action builds courage. Doesn't get rid of fear, it builds courage. Going right back to what I said at the beginning of the video. It's not about being fearless, it's about building courage. It's about becoming courageous, to do the work, to make the big decisions, to be honest with yourself, to do the deep work on yourself. That's how we move forward. Not trying to become fearless or trying to avoid fear, because we now understand that is not even real. So how does, you guys drop me some, while I start talking, you guys drop me some comments if you connect with this. So how does a lack of courage show up? I'm not going to use the word fear. So here, even default my brain went to, how does fear show up? It's not fear. How does an avoidance of discomfort show up? You procrastinating and not doing the things that you need to do to move your life forward because you keep talking shit about being afraid and pretending you're afraid when you now know you're not. It's just bad mind management. You're just avoiding discomfort. You're avoiding a way of things like the way things might make you feel. The actions that you need to take that will move your life forward. That's the big thing. And we know this, right? I've spoken about it many times. Your plan, your schedule, your goals, your actions, your dreams, combined with the meaning and the leverage and the emotional reason behind them, that's what dictates your actions, not how you're feeling. I didn't do this because I didn't feel like it. I don't feel like half the training sessions I do. I don't feel like doing a lot of things that I do, but I get them done because my plan and my schedule, not my feelings, dictates my actions. And action brings change. Action builds courage. And action is the only answer. So we have to do the thing if we want to move forwards. 100% of the time. And if we keep avoiding the thing, then we'll just move backwards. We won't even stand still because time moves on. You're not going to stay where you are. You're going to go backwards and other people will move forwards. So how does a lack of courage show up? How does an avoidance of discomfort show up? Procrastination. Every single time. I haven't got the headspace right now. I'll do it next week. I might go later. I'll see how I feel. I'll wait until the kids are back at school. I'm just going to do X and then I'll go for Y. I'm going to wait until I've got all my ducks in a row. I'm going to wait. And a guy said this to me on a sales call the other day, and I refused. I just said, mate, I cannot work with you. Unless you come back to me with some serious new insights, you're not a good fit and you're never going to get results. And you're going to stay this same way your entire life. Because his exact words were, I'm just going to wait until he's got 3 kids and a business. I'm just going to wait until I've got a clear 12 weeks in my diary, and then I'm going to get started with you. Like Jesus wept. Like everyone watching, 90%, everybody watching is either a parent and a business owner, or a parent and a high performing individual or director with a high level job. Jane, yeah. Who has 12 clear weeks? But all he's doing is, that's not the real reason. He's afraid he's going to sign up, pay the money, not do the work, and carry on repeating the same habits he's repeating his entire life, which is why he's 18 stone and probably going to die before he even gets to see his kids get married. Harsh, but true. Because he doesn't really want to take action, because we're back at the identity thing. He's more committed to staying the same than he is committed to the change. So I can use this as a really valid reason as to why I'm not going to take action. Because guess what? When I do drop the hammer, when I do say, yes, I'm going to change, when I take ownership and responsibility for the reason why I'm 6 stone overweight and going to die away before I should do, then I have to adapt my behavior in line with my new insights. And that includes not making bullshit excuses like I'm going to wait until I've got a 12-week gap in my diary, which no human over and above the age of 2 years old ever has. So many people will procrastinate or not. Every single one of you can take action towards whatever it is you want today, not tomorrow, today. And if it doesn't go well, guess what? You've got another chance tomorrow and the day after and the day after, until one day maybe you're dead and there's no more chances. I don't want that for anybody watching this video. So just do the thing, take the action and stop procrastinating, because there's nothing bad that can happen. This thing that you keep creating that you say you're afraid of isn't real. Like, I tell you what you should be afraid of. You should be afraid of getting to your grave and lying in your coffin, not that you'd be talking because you'd be fucking dead, and saying, do you know what? I could have done all these things, but I didn't do any of them because I was afraid about how it might make you feel. And it's never even about how it would make you feel. This is the twister. It's you don't just fail in silence and nobody knows about it and you sit there crying like a baby because you failed and you're really upset. You're worried about how other people are going to view you when you fail. That's it. If you could go and ask the boy or the girl out, or you could go for the job or the career change, or you could take the leap and start training at the gym, and if it didn't work out for you, nobody would ever know about it apart from you. Would you be afraid to take action, yes or no? Would you fuck? You'd just go and do it, because if you failed, no one would know about it, so you couldn't feel. So really, it's a deep inner root of, I'm not even afraid of failing. What I'm afraid of is other people's opinions and views, maybe being mocked, being judged, being laughed at, of how I will be viewed if I fail. So that's why I'll procrastinate. I guarantee even with that guy, there'll be some things going on in the background. He's probably tried 5, 6, 7, 8 training plans before. Some low-cost cookie cutter shit like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, Juice Plus, Herbalife, personal trainers, all that shit. And it's not worked, and he's invested money in it. And he's still 18 stone. So now he's going to have to go to his wife and say, there we go, there she is. Not even about him, it's about the wife. And she's going to say, oh, come on, Chris. He's not called Chris, by the way. Come on, Chris, how long have you been trying to do this? And every single time, you still end up at the pub, eating chips, drinking beer, and sniffing Charlie with your fat football friend mates, and you never ever change. So let's not just waste the money. See how that's example. So now we've got him and another person backing up his decision not to change. Now can you see why it's so hard for some people to change? But again, it's still not real. Because you're in charge of whether you do the work or not. So it should be irrelevant, fictitious Chris's wife, mum, dad, brother, sister. Classic example again, people wanting to start a business. And they ask their parents who've never run a business in their life. Hey mum, I'm going to start thinking about quitting my job and starting a business. What do you reckon? Oh, don't do that. Of course mum thinks that. Mum's had a job her whole life. She's never run a business. She doesn't know anything about it. Of course she's going to tell you to stay safe and stay comfortable. That's been her identity her entire life. But we are in charge. We're in charge of every single thing we do or don't do. So again, the other person's opinion is irrelevant, because they can only have that opinion if we don't succeed, and they can only make us feel a certain way if we allow them to. Because we can either take the decision of, actually, I'm not going to fail, I'm going to do the work, and I understand I might not succeed for the first time or the second time or the third time, but I'm going to stay committed until I do. And then I'm going to feel amazing. For me, no one else. And nobody else can be in charge of how I feel apart from me. Nobody can make you feel a certain way, guys, unless you allow them to. unless you give them access to. So just do the thing. You're a long time dead. Take the action. I guarantee you nothing bad will happen. I guarantee you whatever your fears are aren't real. And even if you do succeed or mess up and you get mocked and you get judged and you're laughed at, or any of these things that you're thinking might happen do happen, you'll get over it and you'll try again because you're strong and you're enough. So that can only happen if you quit. So just don't quit. The second way it shows up is overwhelm. Overwhelm is just a form of procrastination. It's exactly the same thing. Laura, you and I were talking about overwhelm yesterday. You know, a different example, but the classic guy that I've spoken about on the before. You know, anyone who's feeling too busy right now, get your phone out and have a look at your screen time. I'll be really honest, mine would be an absolute joke. And then we can even back ourselves up, which I do as well, so I get it. Yeah, but I'm on my phone a lot for work. Really? Screen time is 11 hours, but I'm on my phone a lot for work. Tell you what, if I'd done 11 hours pure focused work on my phone yesterday, you'd be flying. You'd be absolutely flying into the middle of next week. You know, the majority of people now are scrolling 3-4 hours a day. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, WhatsApp, and everything else in between. So what we really mean by overwhelm is we've not got clear on our priorities each and every day. So we just, you know this, I've spoke to you guys about this many times. If you don't fill your day with the actions that you need to take towards your dreams, other people will fill your day for you with their drama. And that's your responsibility. We discussed this 2 weeks ago. Don't become a walking alarm clock for other people's agendas. Again, as I said, you wouldn't be talking because you'd be in a coffin, but you know, don't be the person that's in the coffin that's either saying, as we said before, oh, I didn't take action because I created this false fear of having a fear, but really it was just avoidance of discomfort. And even really that was a lie. The avoidance was how other people might make me feel if I didn't succeed. And the reality is I'm now 65 years old dying and I can't even remember who those people were. And those people won't be around your coffin that you're obviously not talking in because you're dead, but you get what I mean. So we could either be that, and no one's going to say that they want to do that, or you could also be the person in the coffin who's not talking. And someone says, you know, how was it? How was your life? I didn't really get anything done. I did have all these dreams, but I didn't put them in my planner. I wasn't selfish with my time. I didn't focus on what I wanted. So because it made me feel good, because I've got Mother Teresa syndrome, which is something I battle with massively, I didn't really achieve any of my goals because I spent every single day wiping everyone else's ass. Because it was easier. It was easier to help people. Classic parenting syndrome of a certain group of parents. Certain group of parents who tend to be massively overweight. Certain group of parents who tend to drink heavily every weekend in front of their children. Certain group of parents who don't tend to do any exercise. This triggers you fucking good. Because it's bullshit. Yeah, I never do anything for me because it's just for kids, innit? Everything's for kids. What? You're eating cookies for the kids? You're smoking fags for the kids? You're drinking your 6 cans of Foster's and your 2 bottles of wine on a Friday night for the kids? Full of shit. But it's a default. It's a default people go to. As long as I can say I'm busy because I'm doing everything for the kids, then it avoids me taking action towards the things that I need to do for me. When really, if I twist it, if I want to be the best possible role model and the best possible inspiration and have the energy and the sleep and the health to be a role model to my kids and see them grow up, I would understand that I need to put myself first. Only all of the time. I need to fill my own cup first so I can give from an overspill of love, energy, protection, provision, and everything in between. But I can't use kids as an excuse for me being the way that I am. That's just a straight up lie. But a lie people will tell themselves because it's easier to make themselves busy doing everything for kids, for the mum, for the dad, for the parents, for the business, for everyone else in between, because as long as I keep running around, and I've done this a long period of my life, so get it, I'm calling myself out. It's a lot easier to be helping other people than doing the stuff you need to do on yourself. Why? Less uncomfortable. Get a quicker payoff. Feels good. So get clear on the plan, get clear on the priorities, get clear on the mission, get clear on the destination, and focus on it every day. Still do things for other people, but after you've done the things for yourself when you've filled yourself up. Yes, sometimes we have to put kids first. We have to put work first. That's just human. But understand there's a very fine line between when you're doing it because you have to, i.e., child's fallen over and banged their head at school and they need taken to hospital, child needs to come first. Child's got rugby training tonight at 7:30. Child needs to come first. Absolutely right. But never going to the gym and not exercising and not eating healthy and not doing any of the things that you keep saying you want to do because you've got kids is not putting the kids first. That's using them as an excuse for not taking action. Two very different mindsets. So the other way that it shows up is worry, anxiety, and overthinking, which is everything we've talked about. So it's not real fear. It's a worry of what other people will think if we do the thing we want to do. Just forget them. Guys, honestly, who cares? Drill this into your morning journaling. If this week was the last week of your life, how would you be living your life? Live like that. Do you know if you live like that every week, do you know what a world-class life you'd live? The worry isn't real. The anxiety isn't real. The overthinking isn't real. The fear isn't real. It's all just bad mind management of avoiding discomfort. Now, the other key thing that we often do is, as I said, we seek permission. We seek permission. Hands up if you do this. We seek permission to take action towards our goal. Rather than just deciding, this is what I want, this is the career I want, this is the job I want, this is the relationship I want, this is the car I want, this is the body that I want, this is the coach that I want to work with, this is the anything that I want to do. We almost give ourselves an exit strategy by asking for permission from someone else. What do you think about this? Like I said, classic wannabe entrepreneur, business owner asking their dad, and there's nothing wrong with being in jobs, by the way. You know, their dad who's been a director in a solid business with a car, a pension, a phone, and everything else his entire life. Of course, he's going to be very nervous about you starting a business. He doesn't understand it. He's never run one. So you shouldn't be asking for permission or validation. But it's an easy way, and a lot of people will do this. It's classic procrastination again. Rather than just doing the thing, I'm going to go and ask 10 different people what they think about whether I should do it or not. 10 people who very often aren't in a position, unless they're the person who's already done the thing that you're doing and they're doing it very, very successfully, then I would question why you're asking them. So to wrap this up, how do we overcome it? How do we start to build courage? How do we start to build confidence? How do we start to take more action? How do we start to stop worrying about other people what they think? How do we start understanding that both options are uncomfortable, so let's choose the one that leads to pleasure? Both options are painful. Which one leads to pleasure? Do I want the pain of being overweight, unhappy, having no confidence, dreading social occasions, not feeling happy in my own skin, not feeling sexy, not feeling like I could be loved, and just hating on myself? Or do I want the pain of taking control, stopping drinking, getting in shape, going to the gym, looking, feeling better, being better? Because when we do, then we attract better. If you feel shit, you're going to attract shit. If you act shit, you're going to attract shit. Because we're all mirrors. If you act lonely, you're going to attract lonely. If you act lost, you're going to attract lost. If you act anxious, stressed, worry, and have the habit of not taking action, procrastinating and not taking actions towards your dreams, you're going to attract the same. No doubt you both go walking for an hour around Rotherham Valley together, putting the world to rights. I.e., talking to each other about how you can quantify why you're still not taking action towards the life that you want, because you'd rather stay committed to moaning about the one that you have whilst doing nothing about it. We take control, we take action, we get up early, we get clear on what we want to have happen today. We get clear on what we want to have happen by the end of this year. We remind ourselves daily. You can't create the destination, put it in the sat-nav and then switch the fucking sat-nav off. You have to keep checking back on the sat-nav, don't you? Or you miss the junction on the motorway. You miss the turn-in. You forget how far you've gone. You can't just create the destination and then go back to doing what you were doing. You have to make sure that every angle action is moving you towards it. And that's what we want to have happen. So that's why I want you to do that today. That's why I want you to get clear on what you want the 1st of January 2025 to look like. And then every single day we have to make sure that our actions align with us moving towards that goal, that we're overcoming discomfort, that we're going through discomfort, that we're ready to go through pain. Because on the other side of pain and discomfort is pleasure, goals, dreams, fulfillment, passion, mission, purpose. But you're going to have to go through the river of pain to get to it, rather than just sitting in the river of pain and getting more. So every single time that this happens, I want you to start to get a handle on that now. Every time you feel afraid, journal it out. What actually is it? Is it a fear of death or injury? No, brilliant, line through it. It's not fear. Okay, it's discomfort. Brilliant. Okay, what is the discomfort I'm experiencing? Or maybe not what even is the discomfort I'm experiencing. What is the discomfort I'm avoiding? What is the discomfort that I don't want to go through? And then, is it real? And 100 times out of 100, it's going to be no. That doesn't mean it's not going to make you feel a certain way. Of course you feel uncomfortable the first time you go to the gym. Of course you feel uncomfortable ending a relationship, starting a relationship, having difficult conversations, personally and professionally. Of course they're uncomfortable, but that's all they are. And whatever the terrible thing that your mind has convinced you is the outcome that might happen isn't, one, very likely, and two, even if it would, you'd handle it and you'll have forgotten about it in weeks, days, months. Let's take that real world example, like asking the girl out. Oh God, no, what if she says no? That's going to make me feel like I'm not good enough. I'm going to get mocked. I'm going to get judged. I'm going to get laughed at. She might think I'm a creep. I'm just going to not do it. So that person would stay stuck their entire life. And then let's take all of those things, right? Or people laughing at you and making you feel the same way you go at the gym because you think you're wobbling and you're sweating and you're redder than everyone else and everyone's staring at you. Not true. But if you start to flip the example, oh yeah, she might not say yes. Fucking hell. I expect to ask every single girl you ask out, or you might, or every single person you ask for a business opportunity, or every time you ask for a pay rise, or every time you ask for something for your partner. You can't expect it to be a yes 100% of the time, and if it's not, you're not okay. There's going to be no's. It's part of life. There's going to be setbacks. But again, it's bad mind management. 99% of, let's go back to the girl and the boy example, 99% of people, even if it was no, would probably respect the courage and the confidence of the person and them having it to ask. But you can't guarantee it's going to be a yes. Same with the sales call, same with the putting your prices up, same with charging more money, same with having the awkward conversations. What we're really saying is, if we could guarantee the outcome and it was the one that we want, we'd take the action, and until we can, we're not going to do it. That's why we struggle with confidence, and that's why we stay stuck, because we're addicted to the outcome, not falling in love with the process. In business, you can fall in love with the process of copywriting. You can fall in love with the process of building relationships with people. You can fall in love with learning the process of sales and marketing. Or you can have all your emphasis on the outcome. And that's the surefire way to make yourself unconfident and uncourageous and feel like shit. Because that's the one thing that you're not in control of. I've spoken about this before. Great story James Smith told me. Famous James Smith. He worked for, fucking hell, what are they called? Love Film. Love Film, when DVDs were still a thing, before Netflix and chills and all that. So you basically used to be able to go to Blockbuster, didn't you? And you could rent a DVD for £5 or something. Then you had to take it back in 3 days, and if not, you got fined. Then Love Film tried to challenge them, and that was basically I think you had a subscription and you ordered the film, and you then posted it back in the post. I don't know. I never did either of those two things, but he was a rep working for Love Film. Anyone who thinks you can or you think you can't, he's now the most successful PT online personal trainer in the UK, bar none, and owns a drinks brand, and he's just become a dad, and he's also now a business coach. So he's also less than 30, I think. So obviously this story was when he was in a shopping centre peddling DVDs for Love Film, and he said very, very clearly, and this is why I remember it to this day, because it's so poignant, and I think you can apply this to every single area of your life. The people who sold the most DVDs, that sold the most subscriptions, that sold the most, that made the most money, that got the most what they call bonuses, sales, commission, that's the word I'm looking for, weren't the people that were great at sales. They weren't the best looking people. They weren't the most confident people. They were the people that were willing to hear no the maximum amount of times and still keep asking. Because they didn't have any attachment. They didn't go, oh, 10 people have said no, that's it, fuck off, we're never going to sell any DVDs, this is pointless, I quit. They just went through the process of having fun, being in a shopping centre, chatting to people, seeing if they want to get a film, not being so emotionally attached to the outcome, which they're not in charge of. You work in sales, right? You're in charge of the energy that you create. You're in charge of what you deliver. You're not in charge of whether the person says yes or no. In any area of life, in your relationships, in your career, in any area of life, you're not in charge of the outcome 99% of the time. So how we build courage is by falling in love with the process. Understanding action brings change, so I'll fall in love with the change. I'll fall in love with the action, sorry. I'll fall in love with just doing the thing and being proud of myself for doing the thing irrelevant of the outcome, because I understand that I'm not in charge of that. And this all relates right back to, before I wrap this up, it's going back to when we've discussed the human needs, the 6 basic human needs: love, connection, significance, growth, contribution. But what were the first 2? Some people have an inappropriate need for certainty. Some people have a massive need for uncertainty. They crave variety. That's why some people can't stay in relationships, because they just can't handle the same thing. They just crave variety. That's why some people change their car every year. Why some people move house every two years or so. But the thing that creates the fear, the fake fear, and leads to the avoidance of action, because really we just want to avoid the discomfort of the action, is the inappropriate need for certainty of the outcome. Do you think anybody would not join this plan if I could hands-on guarantee them the outcome they wanted without them doing the work? Do you think any man or woman in the world would ask the boy or girl out if they knew the guaranteed answer was yes? Do you think sales directors or anyone who works in any form of sales or marketing would be more than happy to jump on sales calls for 8 hours a day every single day if every single person said yes? Do you think you would have the awkward conversation with your partner or boss if you knew it wasn't going to turn into a fight? Do you think you would go to the gym if you knew no one was going to laugh at you and you were guaranteed to lose weight? I could go on and on and on and on and on. Basically, every single thing that you want and need to do in your life to move you towards living the dream life that you deserve and that I want for you, the action is in your control. What isn't in your control is the outcome. But if it was, you would take action. So how we solve this lack of courage, this fake fear, this procrastination, this overwhelm, this stress, this not taking action because we're choosing to stay stuck, is we learn to fall in love with the process. We learn to fall in love with taking the action, with being proud of ourselves for doing the work irrelevant of the outcome. That's what builds our confidence, because we said we were going to do the thing and we did the thing. And every time we do that, we get another rung on the confidence ladder. Doesn't matter whether it led to the outcome we hoped it would. We're not in charge of that. But every time we commit to doing the thing that we said we would, we get stronger. Every time we don't do the thing that we know we want to do to get the life that we deserve, because we retreat back because we're afraid of discomfort or we're avoiding it, then we take another rung off the confidence ladder. So all you need to focus on today, tomorrow, this week, next week, and for the next 4 months of this year, which can be the best 4 months of your life, the best third of any year that you've ever experienced, if you just focus on taking the daily actions that you need to take to become the person that you want to be, to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, to get the dreams that you keep talking about, is just focus on what you need to do every single day and take away any attachment or any need for certainty on the outcome. Because if not, you're just arguing with reality and you'll stay stuck forever, because that's the thing that you're not in charge of. So focus on the process, not the prize. Focus on the journey, not the outcome. And love yourself and be proud of yourself for taking the action, not having an inappropriate need to what the outcome will be and how that will make you feel, which is normally related, not even to yourself, but to other people. And a lot of this stems from doing the deep work, which is what we're going to come on to on the relationship sessions. Not just your intimate relationships with other people, not just your working relationships, not just your relationships with your kids, but your relationships with yourself. And this all builds into it. Because if you're lonely on your own, you'll be lonely in a relationship. If you don't love yourself, you're never going to be loved in a relationship, because nobody will ever be able to love you over and above your ability to love yourself. And guess what? When you love yourself, when you're not lonely, when you're your own best friend, when you back yourself, when you just focus on taking the action, not the outcome, because you understand that nobody can make you feel a certain way, that's when you'll be truly happy. That's when you'll be fulfilled. If you truly learn to love yourself and truly learn to be your own best friend, your own fan, your own cheerleader, how can you ever be lonely or not feel like you're enough? Because you've always got you with you. And that's all you need. I love you all. Have a great day.